Hi, my name is Mark Lynn, and I'm the Roommate Coach. This is going to be episode 27 of the Roommate Coach. I'm going to refer to it as HomeShare Central. HomeshareCentral.org is a new website I'm creating in support of the home sharing movement, and most definitely including the people involved, the individuals who want to be involved, and the agencies pretty much throughout the country that are involved in helping set these home shares up. This will be kind of a brief overview of the website and what I have in mind for it, so it may be a little bit of a shorter episode than usual. Anyway, this is KZZH 96.7 FM in Eureka, California, brought to the air here in Humboldt County by Access Humboldt. They can be reached at accesshumboldt.net. And of course, I still have the original website, theroommatecoach.com, which is where you can leave feedback for me if you would like to. You could also leave any feedback on a 24/7 voicemail system at area 707-362-8000. That's 707-362-8000. I've been doing my Roommate Coach shows for over a year now, and in that time I've looked into a number of categories of shared housing, which of course is becoming more and more popular in order to keep up with our housing costs, for one thing. The category that I am most interested in right now is home sharing. I just think it's a terrific idea. I think it's perfectly obvious. I'm talking about the type of home sharing that sometimes it's referred to as multi-generational, because it frequently will involve an older person, usually a senior citizen with a home and some space to share, who will accept basically a housemate, frequently, not necessarily, but frequently a younger person in return for rent, and the rent is frequently below market value, which is a significant factor, and sometimes it's even a better deal because frequently the homeowner will accept a reduced rent in return for some help around the house. So it's just a no-brainer, and it's a great idea, and I'm personally really determined to do whatever I can to help it catch on. I think it could do a lot of people a lot of good. And that's basically why I've created HomeshareCentral.org, which I will discuss briefly right now. Just a quick summary of what I have in mind for the new site, which, by the way, is not available, open to the public just yet. This is late October 2017. I'm hoping to have it ready and open within a week or two. But real briefly, the groups, or the people that I hope to benefit from it, are mainly the people that would be involved in home sharing itself, which usually boils down to the home sharer, the home provider, the person with the home, and the home seeker, or the person looking to move in. I believe my site can be helpful to both of these people. The person with the home, when you think about it, the person providing the home is probably in some ways the most important of all, and I hesitate to say it that way because it could be misinterpreted. But, I mean, let's face it, unless someone is willing to share their home, without a home to share, there is no home sharing. So these people are kind of in the driver's seat, and I have a suspicion that some of them, and I don't have any idea how many, but I bet at least some, perhaps quite a few, are aware of the concept and have thought about it and see how they could benefit from it, but for whatever reason, they're just not quite comfortable with the idea, and maybe they'd like more information. They'd like some additional ways to get a feel for it, just to get comfortable with it, because it is a big deal. If you're living alone and you own your home, to open your home to a stranger is in some ways kind of spooky. I mean, we all know that. So it's a potentially spooky world we live in. So that's one of my main targets for the site, is figuring out ways to get some of these people that are on the fence about it, that are undecided, to give them an opportunity to get more familiar with the idea and get more comfortable with it. Now, I'll explain more in a few minutes here as to how I intend to do that. The other side of the equation is the home seeker, and I think I can help these people as well. For one thing, in a lot of areas, there's kind of a competitiveness, there is a competitiveness, because for the home seeker, it can be a great deal in some of the big cities with really high housing costs, which is more and more as the years go by. So frequently there will be more people looking for a home share than home shares that are available. So what I believe I can do is provide some information and some support for the home seeker that wants to really give it their very best shot and maybe up their game a little bit so they become the one that gets chosen for the home share. So those are two groups. Now the third group that I think is a really important part of the equation, in many cities, I think there's about 50 or 60 agencies throughout the country, and there may be more, there's at least that many. They're frequently associated with county government that provide support for the home share idea. They'll help to match people up, and depending on the county, depending on the situation, in some cases they'll get involved and remain available to help provide support and assistance if there are some issues that could easily happen. So that's my third group. I think the idea of providing sort of a central location, kind of a clearinghouse for the information. I suspect a lot of these agencies are encountering some of the same issues as other agencies, but without some way of knowing that, they may be kind of all reinventing the wheel. So now I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't work for an agency myself, so I can't say from personal experience, but I just have a suspicion that this might be useful as well. So that's where I got the name, just Home Share Central, and it's .org, although you can access it with .com as well. So that's my thinking, that the website, the homesharecentral.org, can provide some help to people that are involved or want to become involved or are thinking about getting involved with home sharing. Before I go into more detail about the website, I should point out that I realize that there are still some people, maybe quite a few, I don't know how many, but it's not safe to say that everyone has internet access. So one of the things I'm doing is making as much of the information and assistance as possible available just over the telephone. So that might wind up being pretty important for those that don't have ready internet access, or maybe don't have a computer or don't have easy access to one. The reason I'm directing my efforts with homesharecentral.org to the people themselves who are involved in home sharing is I think that the decision to get involved in either side of the home share situation is a really big deal. It's one of those big decisions in life, kind of like taking a new job or moving to another city or possibly even getting married or having children. It's not just a trivial thing like where to go for lunch or where to go for dinner. It's a big deal. It's a big decision. It's got significant consequences, positive or negative, depending on how good a job one does in preparing for it and implementing it. And I think one of the best things that we humans have figured out over the centuries, one of the ways we tend to prepare ourselves for big deals, is by talking it over. That's something that has gone on probably for as long as we've been around, as long as we've been walking on two legs, as we talk it over. Hopefully we talk it over with others who have some interest and maybe some information about whatever it is we're trying to figure out. So that is a real good hint as to what I'm proposing here. I want to create online meetings, online and on the phone, meetings for anyone and everyone who is interested in getting involved with home sharing. You're listening to The Roommate Coach. This is episode 27. I'm calling this episode Home Share Central. This is KZZH 96.7 FM in Eureka, California. My name is Mark Lynn. I'm the Roommate Coach, and you can leave feedback for me at theroommatecoach.com using the contact link on the homepage. You can also leave a voicemail anytime at area 707-362-8000, 707-362-8000. KZZH FM, technically I guess it's KZZH LP FM, 96.7 here in Humboldt County, California, has been brought to the air by Access Humboldt. They're here in Eureka. They can be reached at accesshumboldt.net. The motto here on the Roommate Coach is World Peace, one roommate at a time. I haven't come up with a motto for the new website, homesharecentral.org, yet, but I suspect it'll be something kind of similar because that's what the Roommate Coach is all about, is advocating all of us getting along with each other as well as we can, and that just makes it better for everybody. Okay, so how do I see this concept of mine working for the potential home share people? A lot of it has to do with the agencies. I believe the agencies will continue to be sort of a focal point. I'm anticipating, let's say, someone who's thinking about sharing their home contacts an agency and gets some information. So they're interested, and maybe they wind up calling the agency a couple times. But at some point, it becomes obvious to the person calling and to the agency people that, well, this person is just having some trouble making the decision. You might say they're on the fence about it. So in this scenario, the person at the agency would suggest to the caller that they go to homesharecentral.com or homesharecentral.org. Actually, either one works. And sign up for one of the free calls, and it would be either an audio-only phone call if they didn't have a computer, or if they did have a computer and a webcam, they could do a video meeting and meet up with some others elsewhere in the country and talk it over. Now, the beauty of this is that if I get enough agencies involved, and if they're willing to refer people to either to the website, or wouldn't even have to be to the website. I have an idea as to how this could be done even if the person they're talking to didn't have a computer, didn't have internet access. The whole thing could be done via phone with a little help from the agency people. But the neat thing is that when the time came for the meeting, whether it was on the phone or a video meeting, they'd be able to interact real time. This is live conversation, just like being there, except without being able to see each other in the flesh, and of course without the expense of going somewhere physically. But they'd be able to discuss their reservations, and what I'm hoping is that and obviously this will take some time to build up, but my hope is that at some point there would be enough interest from enough different parts of the country, enough different agencies, to where some and maybe eventually most of the online meetings or the conversations would have people from various parts of the country, and perhaps people with different aspects or at different phases in the experience. Maybe some would be just getting started, just thinking about it. Maybe some would want to call in and talk about how well it had worked for them. Maybe others would want to call in and basically complain and say, I tried it and didn't work for me, and this is why. And the point is, people would have direct real-time access to others with some experience or at least some interest in the topic itself. And of course, I also intend to have guest speakers and perhaps some kind of experts in the field. I've got my own ideas as the roommate coach as to what it takes to make these things work, but I'm just one person. I can have whoever else I can get to show up, including the agency people from the various agencies that might want to be involved. So I could see the whole thing potentially being pretty darn useful, and this is one of the amazing benefits that we're all experiencing of all the communication capability we have that we didn't have not that long ago, that we have access to each other's experiences at just a tiny fraction of the cost it would have taken at one time. This kind of thing I'm talking about, I don't see how it could have been done without all of this amazing electronic stuff and communication stuff we have. As far as the kinds of subjects, the kinds of things that can be discussed during these meetings, and again, they would be either totally phone-based, which means you wouldn't even have to have a computer, or video-based, computer-based, meaning you'd have the option of doing a video as well if you wanted. But I could see any number of topics over a period of time. Initially, however, I'm pretty sure I'll want to just focus on the getting people comfortable with the idea and basically doing whatever I can. I think for me the bottom line is that if I am successful at getting people to attend these, if I can get them promoted, and this is where the agencies will help, I think there will be an increase in the number of people getting involved with and participating successfully in home sharing. That's really the goal. So initially, the two main conversations would be aimed at the people with the homes, the providers, the idea being to help them get comfortable with the idea and explain to them the various things that are done to allow the whole concept to work, the kinds of things that can be done if there are problems, just whatever it takes to put them at ease. So that's one main chunk of my initial audience. The other half, I guess, or the other initial main portion would be the seekers, the people looking to home share. For them, I see a number of things that could be done, but I'm realizing that in many cases there is a competition of sorts, since there will frequently be more people seeking the home share than there are home shares available. So I could see having a series of conferences, the online, either the phone or web-based or both, aimed at giving these people some ideas on how to really present themselves as well as possible and how to be successful in getting accepted in a home share. So those are the two initial ones, and I intend for those to be free. At some point I'll probably want to have some kind of premium content in order to fund the operation, but the primary offerings, I guess you would say, which I believe will be these conferences, these conversations, the main ones I intend to keep them free and readily available at all times, just because there's very little expense involved in producing them. Now, there's certainly a lot more I can say about my plans for the website, although I think I will wrap this up here shortly and probably have a part 2, maybe discuss more in a future episode, maybe the very next episode for that matter. Real quickly, I will say that in many other ways, I'll have a lot of the expected things about a website. I expect there will be an online forum of some sort. So the online capability, online discussions will be possible, and that'll be useful, and that can really augment the live parts of it. And it's also important, I like to emphasize the fact that it should be possible to benefit from the important parts of what I'm offering here, even if you don't have a computer. Now, I'll go into more detail on my thinking in a future episode, maybe the next episode, because I think there will be a way. I'm still working out some of the logistics, but I think if the agencies are willing to help out with the sign-up process, that someone could find out about the various online conversations and get involved with them even if they didn't have a computer or access to a computer at all. This is an important part of what I'm creating here as well, because I recognize that there are still, I'm not sure what the numbers are. I should probably try to find out, but I know there are people out there that don't have internet access, and in some cases, these may be senior citizens. And since senior citizens with homes to share are an important part of this whole program, I definitely want to figure out how to make whatever I'm offering as accessible to them as well. Now, it occurred to me that one way to describe what I'm planning to do here to help people get comfortable with the idea and get up to speed with the idea of the whole concept of home sharing, I'm thinking of it as an on-ramp for the program. And that's maybe a useful metaphor. Now, I realize that not everyone needs this kind of thing. Some people get wind of a new idea like this and they just jump right in and make it work, and that's great. But we're all different, and I know for me, with anything really new, drastically different from what I've been doing, I tend to take quite a while, and I try to get a lot of information from a lot of different perspectives. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of others out there that function kind of along the same line. So that's why I'm offering this whole program. And one other thing I want to emphasize about the concept, even though I do hope to have guest speakers, and I will offer my own editorial comments from time to time, and I imagine I will wind up facilitating a lot of the discussions. But ultimately, I envision this as being an example of what the experts are calling peer learning. And it's my understanding that in many different kinds of situations, people tend to learn most effectively, or very effectively at least, from each other, from others who are in the same situation as they are, rather than from the so-called experts. So people thinking about home sharing, learning from others' experiences and others' ideas and others' thoughts on the subject, for that matter. All in all, I'm hoping that it will really be a whole helpful part of the whole process. So this has been episode number 27 of The Roommate Coach, and it's been all about homesharecentral.org or homesharecentral.com. Again, this is a new website, a kind of a companion website for The Roommate Coach. It's not quite ready for public access just yet, but hopefully it will be soon, within the next couple of weeks or so. So I'll wrap things up. My name is Mark Lind. I'm the Roommate Coach. You've been listening to KZZH 96.7 FM in Eureka, California, brought to the air by Access Humboldt. They are reachable at accesshumboldt.net. The bumper music is called Rollin' at 5. It's by Kevin MacLeod. And like I always like to mention, at least whenever I think of it, my motto as the Roommate Coach, and as the Home Share Central guy for that matter, is always world peace, one roommate at a time. I really appreciate your listening, and oh, by the way, if you need to contact me, either to provide feedback or if you want to discuss anything about the whole Home Share Central, I'm talking about anyone or even people in the agencies that happen to be listening to this. You can leave me feedback at theroommatecoach.com, or you can call anytime, area 707-362-8000. And that's about it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you again real soon.